listeners, it's Cara here from leolistening.com, where I help advanced English learners break free from subtitles so they can fall back in love with their favourite films and series. So it's the month of March, and this month I'm talking all about the theme of personal development or self-help, but I prefer personal development as a term. So that's anything to do with things like motivation, habit formation, managing your time, being more compassionate with yourself and other people, communicating better. These are all notions that fall under the personal development theme. So I wanted to approach it from two angles. So what you can listen to in English that will boost your listening and your own personal development, and then also how to use the techniques from personal development to feel more motivated and inspired while you're trying to understand English, which obviously isn't easy. So I was going to start off with just talking about some ways that you can get personal development information into your ears. So I was going to talk about the obvious sources like watching TED Talks, listening to podcasts on personal development topics, listening to audio versions of articles on sites like Medium, where they have a lot of personal development material, reading summaries of non-fiction books on the subject, for example on Blinkist, where they also have audio versions of the books, audio versions of articles on other people's sites. So I had all these ideas that I was going to talk about, and then I realised there was something that I hadn't thought about, and that was using conferences as a tool. So the best thing nowadays about conferences is that often you don't have to go anywhere because so many of them are online. So instead of spending, hundreds, if not thousands of euros, dollars, whatever, to take a flight, book a hotel somewhere, go somewhere for the whole weekend, and then just hiding in the corner, not talking to anyone, you can actually tune in from home. So there are quite a few online conferences now in the language learning space. So a few examples: there was the Lingua Hackers conference last year. There's the Online Teacher Summit that's coming up again this April. There's the Language Learning Summit, which was in February. And there's a new kid on the block in the online language conference space, which is Women in Language, which I'll be speaking at very soon. So, and I'm sure, I just gave some examples for languages as an example of sort of personal development through conferences, but I'm sure there are lots of online conferences as well in other fields. You just need to Google them. Go use your friend Google to find some more examples. So what I like about online conferences compared to normal conferences is that you save lots of time and money. So you don't have to pay for a hotel, you don't have to pay for food, you don't have to pay for transport, you don't have to pay for merchandise like the t-shirt of the conference or something like this. And even though conferences are online, and so you're watching them from home, you can still interact and meet with people. So for instance, at the Language Learning Summit, there were special networking gatherings to bring people together. And usually at the end of talks, you have like a question and answer session. So you're interacting with the speaker, asking them questions, etc. If you're not available on the days that the conference takes place, then no worries. When it's online, the organisers usually record them, and then you can pay a fee to have the recordings, so you can watch them whenever. It doesn't matter if you're not there on the specific days. You can of course listen to the conference talks while you're doing something else. There's no obligation to necessarily sit in front of the screen, although that means you can watch the slides, which can help. You're going to learn something. The whole point of this is that it's for your own personal development, your learning development, and of course, actually attending an online conference and participating is a lot more interactive than just watching the recording of a TED or a TEDx event where you just get to see the speaker and that's about it. So I wanted to talk a bit more about the new language learning conference on the block, which is Women in Language, where, as I said, I'm going to speak. So there'll be 25 female speakers and who'll be presenting from March 8th to 11th, so very soon. And the conference is kind of organised around 4 different big themes. So starting languages, so if you're a beginner, there'll be certain talks that are oriented around that. Mastering languages, which is for people who've been learning for a while. Living with languages, so that will be talks from people who've been living abroad, living in the country where the language is spoken, and working with languages, so you'll be hearing from people who have been able to turn their passion into a profession and use their language in their job. So the idea of Women in Language is, of course, to amplify women's voices and perspective in the language learning space. And it's true, when I saw that, I thought to myself, oh yeah, it's true, a lot of polyglots, a lot of language experts are men, they're all blokes. So I thought, yeah, it's a really good idea to have something focused all on women speakers, because yeah, there's a lot of men learning and talking about languages, but there's also a lot of women. So it's hosted by 3 very inspiring language teachers and learners. So Kirsten from Fluent Language, Lindsay from Lindsay Does Languages, and Shannon from Eurolinguist. So those are 3 very inspiring ladies, and I'm so glad they've decided to put this event on. Now, just to clarify one thing, all the speakers are female, of course, but you're free to join the event whether you're a man, non-binary, transgender, it doesn't matter. You're totally free to, sign up, participate, attend the event, ask questions, etc. And what's good about the event is it's a ticketed event, so you pay and then you get in, you get access to everything, and as part of that, 10% of all the profits are going to Kiva, which I'm really excited about, because I heard about Kiva fairly recently. I read about it somewhere and I was like, oh, I want to give money to this organisation. So what Kiva does is they work with business owners in developing countries, and the idea is that you loan money to people who need a loan to invest in their business, and then normally you get it paid back, because once people have had the loan and they've been able to invest in their business, they're able to generate money to pay back the loans. So that's the way that Kiva works. So it's helping to support entrepreneurs in the global south and developing countries. So it's really cool that I wanted to donate to them, and now it turns out Women in Language is going to be donating too, so that's fantastic. There are also going to be 2 round table talks in addition to all the talks from each individual speaker. So some of the talk titles that caught my eye were The Power of Compassion and Intuition in Language Learning Abroad. Sounds really interesting. Why you're struggling with listening and what to do about it. So that's not my talk, but that's someone else's talk, and that sounds really, really cool. Find time in a busy life, learn with Instagram. That's my friend Elfin who's giving that talk. That's going to be really cool. Cracking the language code through art and self-expression. Sounds really fascinating. How to kill it in language learning with crime fiction. I am really intrigued by that one. And making the world a better place as an interpreter. Sounds good as well. And my talk, of course, is going to be about subtitle freedom. No surprises there. So make sure you join us for a listening boost and for some language learning insights for your own personal development. March 8th to 11th, I'm going to put all the links, everything you need to know under this video, and yeah, hope you can come, and I hope that this has inspired you to consider online conferences as another way to get some listening practice in English, and also to learn about something and develop your knowledge. Alright, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye!